So what? You know anyone who went to Japan recently? I mean, maybe it's just me, but it seems like a lot of local people have been going to Japan. I know at least 3 families who went this year for the very first time. And as they share their stories about how good the food was and how cheap everything was, and of course how clean the streets are, I can't help but feel small kind jealous, you know, just small kind. Okay, fine, really jealous. And before you know it, I'm online checking all the cheap flights to see when we can go to Japan. And every time that happens, I do ask myself repeatedly, how come Japan doesn't seem to advertise to us locals, and yet we love going to Japan? Now, I know that the yen is really weak and flights are relatively cheap, and occasionally I see some of the non-stop travel commercials during Wheel of Fortune. But for the most part, it seems like Japan doesn't have to do a lot to get us to go there. Whereas in Hawaii, it seems like we're trying so hard to market and get Japanese visitors to come back. And I don't think the results are showing any significant improvements in the Japanese market in terms of visitor counts and visitor spending. And so I want to talk about that by taking a critical look at Hawaii's most recent marketing campaign video. Because frankly, I don't get it. Now maybe that's because I went grad public school, but if you take a look, now, before we get started, I just want to say that this is all in good fun. This is not anything personal. I'm an English major. This is kind of what we do. But on top of that, I think it's also important that we be critical of some of the marketing material that's being put out there, especially because this is associated with the Hawaii Tourism Authority, which is funded by public money. And so this is really a reflection of us local people out to Japan. And just some further background about this particular marketing campaign to Japan. It's called Beautiful Hawaii, where I think they're trying to highlight just Hawaii's beauty and natural resources to hopefully attract some Japanese visitors. And I will warn you, there will be a lot of stopping and me talking. So if you want to watch the whole video through, you can look it up online. It's Beautiful Hawaii. It's by the Hawaii Tourism Authority.
私たちはどこから来たのか
Okay, anybody else remember when the Honolulu Police Department was telling visitors that, yeah, make sure to take your stuff with you when you go swimming? Like you had to get one of those like waterproof bags because there was a lot of theft happening on the beach, and like people would come and they would take people's stuff. To me, having beach lockers would make a lot more sense, but yeah, so already I'm like, is she gonna wear that or no? Ooh. By the way, Mauna Kea, that's one of my bucket list places. I definitely want to go there one day. Okay, pause. So I do want to talk about here this idea of when we travel, are we consuming or absorbing what we encounter? Like, is that the sole purpose? And I think for a lot of people, it is. Now, I'm just thinking about local people here. When we go Vegas, when we go to Japan, when we travel to the mainland, I do want to ask ourselves and do some kind of like self-reflection on us as a state. Are we just going there to consume, or are we also going out there to learn about that particular culture or the local people there and what we do? I'm just asking because I know it's an expectation that a lot of people have here in Hawaii that visitors should do all these things. And just to be fair and consistent, it just would seem that if that's going to be what the expectation is when people come to our home, that we would also reciprocate that and do that when we perhaps visit their home. Okay, pause. Now I understand that this video is supposed to highlight the several beautiful backdrops and some of the natural resources and just the environment and the beauty that we do have here in Hawaii. And having a lava field, that's very nice. But it seems like this video is already highlighting this idea of like the solo traveler. And just based on my pure observations, perhaps I'm wrong, but I just don't see a lot of young Japanese travelers coming here and swimming by themselves or walking in the lava field by themselves. In fact, I would tell them to don't do that. Like, please, you want to go with like a friend or somebody else just in case. As we're looking here in the trees, I'm just I'm sort of half expecting some like local kids to walk by with a big loudspeaker and the loud music playing. Oh, is that stock footage? Okay. So, wait, who's this who's this family? Okay, and now that we're in the taro patch, I think that's absolutely wonderful if they want to promote where tourists can come and participate in some native Hawaiian like farming or other cultural practices. I think that's absolutely wonderful. I can say I've never, and I'm sure that I am wrong. I am sure I am wrong. I have never seen, I have never been asked by any Japanese tourist or any of friends who come visit us here in Japan. Never has any of them ever wanted to go and work in a taro patch, work in taro field. Again, I hope that I'm wrong, but the idea that they are trying to promote that, I don't know. Maybe non-Japanese visitors might be interested in that type of cultural thing, but I've never seen that. Got the horses, there we go. She must be hot because she's wearing a jacket. I mean, I don't know where she is, but I'd be dying. Okay, pause. Now, I know I haven't really been paying attention to the text on the bottom, and if it's in Japanese, but it's translated for us here. I do want to focus on the phrase that is there at the bottom with the waterfall. By turning mere travelers into messengers. And I think that's actually a very good point that I do want to come back to, although I'm very critical of this video. To me, that is actually the solution. So I want to get back to that point, but I do want to highlight that did come up in this video, and then we'll get back to it. Journaling, really? And again, similar to the taro field working, I have never seen or heard of any Japanese tourists wanting to do like beach cleanup or like work fish pond like down at Hei or something. I've never heard of that. Maybe that's a very popular thing and people want to do that, but I'm not quite understanding that for a Japanese visitor. Maybe for other visitors, that's something that they're very interested in doing. But for a Japanese visitor here, I don't know if that's something that they're into. Okay, learning some cool thing, that's nice. Again, taro patch. Again, taro field. Where is that? That's beautiful. Oh, got some big trees. I'm like, oh, that's pretty clean. For Hawaii, that's pretty clean. Random family. You got the whales. That's nice. Beautiful. Oh, I think it's the Kotlaos from Waimea, Kauai. Man, this looks like Mars. I know it's not, but boy, it looks like Mars. Wearing the jacket. Oh, was that the observatories on the top? Whew. And that is the end of that video. So just some overall comments here. Now, from a technical standpoint, the video is beautifully shot. You got some nice, LUT storing on there. Everything shot in 60 frames per second, maybe, and so from a technical standpoint, the video looks wonderful. The words are very poetic, though I don't think I quite understand them. But maybe there's something with the translation. But I don't think you can just throw up some cinematic videos like drone shots like these. And really winning over someone to come and visit Hawaii. Because I think that this video fails to consider what the Japanese audience wants to do when they come to Hawaii. Maybe these are the things that we want to push on them, but I just don't traditionally see a lot of them doing a lot of the things that were in this video. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe there is a lot of data that points that young Japanese visitors traveling by themselves are interested in working in taro fields and doing beach cleanups and going to Mauna Kea by themselves. Maybe there is data on that, but I don't really see that. What I'm seeing here, especially on Oahu, is they're interested in seeing a lot of the traditional sites, doing group tours, going to the beach, shopping, eating food. Like, those are the things that I'm seeing that group, if that's who they're targeting, that's what I see them doing. And frankly, that's where these tourists are going to have the greatest economic impact on the state, by buying things and eating things. And while those other experiences are absolutely wonderful, and to get a better, appreciation for Hawaii and to enjoy its beauty, those are all wonderful things, I don't see that as the main narrative for why a lot of Japanese visitors would come here. So what I'm thinking actually happened was they had a script for this video that was targeted more towards a US mainland audience. And they just replaced the actress, the person that was starring in the video, they just replaced her, like someone from the mainland, with a Japanese person. Because those things like working in the taro fields and beach cleanup and this solo traveler mentality, that seems very, very American. That seems like it would be attractive to maybe a more mainland audience. But as I'm watching this video now, I'm just kind of confused. And again, maybe as locals we don't think about this often because we don't see these videos, because these are for people elsewhere outside of Hawaii. But it just seems a little bit strange to me. But let's just say that I am wrong, and that there is a huge interest in Japanese tourists who come here and do solo travel experiences, and they want to go taro fields, and they want to go beach and a beach cleanup, not beach, and they want to go climb mountains and go hiking and do all those sort of outdoor activities. I guess I was always under the assumption that we're trying to sort of pivot away from just sheer volume of visitors to quality visitors who stay in traditional accommodations, who stay in the hotels, they do the group tours, they eat a lot, they spend a lot. They're not like the thrifty travelers that maybe is more reminiscent of the US travelers who are, coming here, try to save money, and they try to do Hawaii cheap. I thought we're trying to move away from that tourist model and try to attract more of these higher quality, higher spending visitors. And again, I just don't see how this video will attract those people when the images and the scenes are being shown in this context. And maybe you're just thinking, bruh, why are you so serious? It's just chillax, okay? It's not that big a deal. And yeah, you're probably right. But I just want to cite something from an article earlier this year during Golden Week that highlighted why this is kind of important in terms of how we market ourselves. So an article came out that said, Hawaii is losing ground to aggressive marketing from other destinations like Okinawa, South Korea, Southeast Asia, Australia, Guam, and Europe. And the article went to say that we went from number 3 on the list to number 8 on the list. Now you might be thinking the main reason why the Japanese numbers haven't climbed is because of the struggling Japanese economy, particularly the weak yen against the dollar. And that's what I thought too, but the article pointed out that may not necessarily be the case. Because the article highlights Singapore, and it says that Singapore shares the same distance and unfavorable exchange rate challenges as Hawaii. Yet Singapore's tourism industry is going after the Japanese, and there they have 4-star hotels for about $450 a night, and it's double that here. The perception is that they get more quality for their money. And as each quarter passes, we see visitor numbers, particularly on the Japanese market, struggling to recover. Now, I will say anecdotally, when we took a Waikiki trolley around Waikiki, and we saw a lot of Japanese tourists. They packed that double-decker bus, and whew, it was full. So there are a lot more Japanese tourists, at least from what I saw that day, than definitely in the past. But I'm seeing more things online about how, yeah, people do want to go to Hawaii maybe, but they can't afford to, or they just don't think that the value is there anymore. So how do I think we fix this? Because can I just complain and then not offer some sort of solution. Now, I want to return back to what was said earlier in the video about turning travelers into messengers and how this ties into, I think, why Japan doesn't need to market to us locals. I mean, if you know someone who recently went to Japan, they just talk it up. I mean, maybe they might give you some omiyage and give you like some senbei or some like Kit Kats and stuff. But man, they're gonna show you all the pictures of the food. They're gonna show you all the temples. They're gonna show you all the shopping, and they're gonna run down the list of it was this place. Oh my gosh, this one tonkatsu place. Oh, it's so good. Oh, the one ramen shop. Oh, you gotta go try. The whole spiel, right? And what we can learn from that, I think, is word of mouth is so powerful as a marketing tool. We have such a great product here in Hawaii that when they go back to Japan, they talk us up, just like we talk about them up. How nice the people were, how great the food was. Yeah, it was a little bit expensive, but oh man, it was so clean and safe and I had such a great time. They treated me so nicely. Are we doing those things? Now, while I think it's great that we're marketing ourselves and we can make all these videos, that's totally fine. But I do think that there should be some resources spent on improving the visitor experience, not just for the Japanese visitors, but frankly for everybody. But really trying to improve that visitor experience so that after they're done with their trip, they go back home and they tell all their friends about it. I think we need to really make them feel like they're valued as visitors, that we want them to be here, we're very accommodating to them, and that we're just so grateful that they come and share in all the beauty, all the culture, all these things that we do want them to experience. But we gotta transfer that over to them and help them to feel that once they're done experiencing their vacation. Sometimes I kind of wonder, why would anybody from Japan want to come here? Kind of like how people used to ask me when I was on the mainland, why would you leave Hawaii to come to Greeley, Colorado? And so what are some ways that we can improve the visitor experience? Well, I think we can make it so that when they arrive at the airport, it's nice. Maybe we clean up the streets so not so much rubbish on the ground, and make it so that they don't feel unsafe in places like Waikiki. And maybe improving signs so that they don't get lost. But I do think that we have to do better. Now, Hawaii got pretty lucky because visitors from the US have really been carrying us for the past few years, but those numbers are starting to get soft and we're starting to see a decline in visitors from the US West and US East. And visitor spending is about 4% less than it was last year. And I think about the many businesses that really cater and target the Japanese visitor market. If things don't improve for them collectively, maybe holistically improve, then some of these businesses might not be able to make it and they'll have to close. And then when future Japanese visitors come, these businesses are not going to be there anymore. And that's going to impact, I think, negatively the visitor experience for them. And so if we improve the visitor experience for the Japanese, word will spread. They're going to tell their friends. And like I said, word of mouth, probably the most powerful form of marketing. And sure, it's very difficult to track marketing efficacy when you talk about word of mouth marketing, but I think it's gonna work. So thanks for watching and aloha.